just got back from my trip to the south of France and to northern Italy, and I have filled a whole travel size sketchbook. I want to show you guys what the contents are today. I love doing these art journal tours. I think they're really fun because it's kind of like the raw experience instead of like the super curated social media stuff that we all post about our trips. Like, I have the highs and lows in here, and some days you're feeling like you need to brain dump all of your emotions and it's just a ton of words, and then other days I'm sketching by the beach and capturing very in the moment things. I technically started this journal in Nashville visiting my sister, and I only did one page and I felt really like bad about it, but I just let it go and didn't let this journal go to waste, and I just kept going, and it was really easy, honestly, to fill the pages in Europe somehow. I just made way more intentional time for it. It's kind of tedious to bring all your art materials everywhere you go, and like definitely my back was hurting from carrying my bag everywhere, but it was worth it because 90% of the time I did pull this out and do some sketching, painting, journaling, something in this out in the world. And I think I'm starting to get really comfortable with it. Like, I don't feel super shy about working on my art in a cafe in public or on a bench in a park. Okay, so let's first of all talk about the cover. I used my April junk journal kit stuff on the cover. I have this print of a watercolor painting I made. It's in honor of my grandmother, and I think I've talked about it before on here, but I'm just gonna reiterate. Her name was Mieko, and that means beautiful branch in Japanese, and I paint branches a lot and I take photos of branches I see, and it always is a reminder of her, and this one is one in her honor, and I just was like, she needs to be with me on these travels, so I added that to my cover initially, and then I added some of the April stickers. They were very water focused. It was a April showers theme, so lots of water. I'm a water sign, so like water and summer, it just goes hand in hand to me. So yeah, that's what's going on here. It's a spiral bound sketchbook. It is called, I'll have the actual title of it written here for you. I believe it's a Strathmore Vision travel journal, but I'll write the actual name so you guys can look it up if you want to do it. I love a spiral bound book because you don't have to worry about it falling apart or getting too wide, and obviously this is like really thick, but because it's a spiral bound, I can lay it still completely flat, which I love. The birds are loud out here. But yeah, spiral bound always. I have tried other types of binding and I just hate it, so that's why I do that. To start, I always like to decorate the hardcover as well, so I just kind of put some things from my June junk journal kits. I have this print of a watercolor painting I made back in like literally 2020, I think. I'm super into how this print turned out. Like, I love, it's kind of like a classic Art by Elowyn print. You may have seen it if you've followed for a while, and it's just very summery to me, and this is my summer travel journal, so I wanted that to be the first thing you see. And then I have a miracle fish and a little sticker from the art supply store in Italy that I got some new watercolors at. And this is a little print I made recently. Like, some of these things are more recent than when I started this, but that's kind of what I like to do with my journals, is I start and then I embellish old pages later when I collect other stuff. So it's not a chronological experience, it's very much like cumulative, is that the word? Experience. So it's like all the things are existing at the same time. So for example, this little insert I wrote after I had finished this journal. So I left this completely empty, except I had drawn my travel art materials and I had added some stickers, but I hadn't filled out the page because I sometimes get first page anxiety and I'm like, I don't really know what I want to say. And it felt way more cathartic to like write a summary of like all the things about this journal experience after it was over. So that's what's here. This is your permission to write and fill in pages retroactively, okay? It's your journal, you don't have to do it one certain way. So this is my only spread about Nashville. I went to a line dancing bar with my family and I drew my sister and some line dancers' boots. This girl had these shorts with little bows in the pockets and I'm like, okay, I need to draw this so I remember to do that later because that's so my style. Yeah, just kind of Nashville-y sketching. I intended to do a lot more of this, but sometimes when you're traveling with family, it becomes way more about like connecting with your family and not having a lot of alone time with your thoughts and with your art. And that's okay too, but that's kind of what happened here. And then my sister gave me this postcard and I had this cute little cowgirl pinup illustration. So that's the Nashville representation. There is no more after that. And then I'm just gonna flip through, like there's pages where I'm just writing notes about my business sometimes and they're not like super cute, but it's worth mentioning that I do that. So this is the very first page about my trip to France, to Nice, France. So here are some thumbnail sketches about what I want to do for my next few months of Patreon. I was like working out what kind of themes I want to do and painted this little seashell with watercolors and then wrote an insert. This page is the first meal we had in Nice and I drew some of the things on the table while we were waiting for our food. Seashell themed stickers on there as well. The next spread is more Nice stuff, so I did some junk journaling with the things I collected, and then on the other side did some more from life sketches with pencil, and then I also adorned it with a bunch of stickers. They have these really bright flowers along the train tracks and I really wanted to capture them. They're just so gorgeous. So like in California we have the golden poppies, but apparently in the south of France and in Italy these red poppies are super common, so I thought that was interesting and beautiful, so I wanted to sketch those. And then on the other side I have more junk journaling and then a couple pictures of me and William in Nice. Actually this one's in Italy, but you know what I mean, like I just throw photos on there and some stickers. The next spread is a kind of mermaidy yellow junk journal theme. In Nice there's so much mermaid and ocean themed packaging, so I have a little like napkin I got and a little candy wrapper, and I put some stickers and a photo of me getting ready for the beach and some menu scraps. I really color coordinated this one, it's really cute. This spread is some more from life sketching, so I did this at a cafe. I sat for about an hour and sketched some people at a cafe across the street with watercolors, and also did a little sketch of a coffee I got. And then I kind of revisited the first night in Milan. So we actually landed in Milan and then took the train to Nice, and I took this photo of Milan before the sun had set, and I wanted to do a greenery sketch. This was all with alcohol markers, and yeah, sometimes I take a photo of something I want to capture. This spread is an example of both of those things. So we have a bit of a brain dump over here. We went to a raclette restaurant. It was called a fromagerie. I love cheese. Like, cheese is probably my favorite food. No, it's a huge block of cheese that you put contraption that heats either side of the cheese so that it melts. It's almost like fondue. And then you put it on like meats, potatoes, vegetables, cold cuts, things like that, and it was so delicious. And it had this like flour rind, which was so unique, and it was so delicious. The restaurant owner, Louis, he was so sweet to us. We're super lucky to get to experience it because it's like a very small restaurant. And then we have some more junk journal spreads, just junk I was collecting in Nice, kind of in tan brown shades of junk. I like to color coordinate my junk. It's just something I do. And then I also sketched some French foods with watercolor and some of the foods we had. And we went to a grocery store in Nice where we got some French butter and had it with a baguette from a bakery, and oh my god, it was the best thing we had the whole time. Like, looking back, I'm like, next time we go to Nice or France, I think we can just get some groceries and save a lot of money and not go to any restaurants, because just the ingredients, like charcuterie ingredients, I could just live off of that. This is kind of the transition into Italy. So I was sketching this in Chiavari, and we have a little sketch of myself a little espresso I was looking at, and then I took a photo of the view of Portofino and sketched it. And I'm doing this all with my Mars black pencil, and it's my favorite pencil. I like using like dark graphite. And then we have some junk journaling. It's kind of orange and blue themed. It's a ton of train tickets because we were taking a lot of trains to get from place to place. Ferry tickets. We have a water bottle label. I'm always asking William to take the labels off of bottles. And then I added some photos and stickers after. This is kind of a mix of Nice and Italy things. Some photos of me from that area, and then I have some scraps from a museum we went to in Nice and some other Nice scraps. It just like color coordinated, and I had some scraps left over, so I added those. I painted this at breakfast in Chiavari. I overheard an Italian family. The mom had a little infant and was telling her mangia mangia, and I was like, oh my god, I need to remember that. So yeah, I have this little scene I took a photo of and then wanted to paint, and I used no lines, and that's really out of my comfort zone. So I think it turned out really cute. And I added some stickers. And then this is that Abbey San Frutoso. I did this little watercolor sketch of it. It was just literally like heaven. It was the most beautiful place I think I've ever seen. This is some water studies. So what are all the ways I could be painting water? Like, what are the different procedures? So like, this has no color in the background. This one has a kind of muted blue in the background. I painted the blue parts first and then added a green overlay, and then this one I painted green first and then painted over it the water ripples. And they each have very different effects, and I was just testing something, you know. You're looking at this beautiful crystal clear water, and I was like, how can I recreate this with watercolor and make it like feel the way it does? So I'm working on that. It's something I'm very interested in. Speaking of water, I painted the ocean in Chiavari. It just glistens and sparkles. So I had to, you know, evoke that feeling. And on the other side, I started a water study, but I hated how it turned out. So I just covered it in some photos of me in Chiavari and stickers that reminded me of the beach days that I had there. Sometimes if a page is too ugly for you to stand, you just cover it in stickers and photos and other paintings. Like, get creative with it, or you can leave it and just accept it for being ugly, and that's okay too. So my next spread is some other junk and some photos and stickers, and then sometimes I need to just write the feelings out, and I did that here. Put a little postcard I thrifted at an antique store in Nice. Have a little picture of William. This is a very oceany spread, so this is all stuff from the museum I went to in Nice. So again, backtracking in time, but I had all this like oceany stuff because they have a contemporary artist in there right now doing a kind of installation show about overfishing and the overconsumption of water and commercializing things like water. It was a very heart-wrenching thing to see. It was really like scary and whimsical, and it's got me thinking, and like I'm still thinking about it, so it really left a mark. I wish I knew the name of the artist off my head, but I really had a hard time finding it again on Google, but hopefully I can find it. But I went to this museum, and the lady at the front was speaking to us in full French, and I was like, I don't speak. She just kept talking to us, and I'm like, I wish I understood what you're saying. And then she gave us some free postcards, and so they're in here now, and I'll never forget that she gave us these free postcards. It was so sweet. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a stupid American, I don't know French. Anyway, so I put some kind of mermaidy stickers of mine on here, and it's like very blue themed, which I love how this turned out. And then there's a pic of me at the beach. So this is fun. I painted this on the train from Chiavari to Florence. I was like kind of heartbroken to leave Chiavari. I love it there. On the train was like mourning leaving, and I painted the hotel that we stay at. We've gone back to this hotel 3 years in a row. We stumbled upon it during our honeymoon on accident, and you can see like the beach from there and all the beautiful different colored umbrellas. It's just such a vibe. There's me on the beach, And then I painted this on the train, and that was kind of difficult, but I was like, I'm not going to do another train ride where I'm not being productive. So I pulled out the journal and sketched this. And I actually did it with alcohol markers, not paint. But the other side, I just used pen, and I wrote, drawing on the train is a little bit bumpy. It was super bumpy that day. And it got a little messy, but it was kind of fun. And then on that same train ride, I wrote, my hands are covered in graphite, because I have this pencil case and I have all of those really dark graphite pencils that I use, but they're jumbling around all of my markers and other supplies, and the graphite is all over everything. I'm gonna have to clean them all. And like, I'm just getting graphite like literally on the chair, like on my clothes, on my face, on the page, and I was getting so frustrated. So I drew myself like angry because I was so annoyed. But I kind of like the aesthetic of these like jumbly, like really bumpy line drawings I did on the train. It kind of had a cool effect in hindsight. And then once we landed in Florence, I started drawing things I was seeing. We sat at a cafe that we fell in love with last year during my study abroad, and it's very like Americanized, I'd say. Like, they have iced coffee, and a lot of places in Florence don't have iced coffee, but this place like has the best iced lattes, and I was like, we need to go back there and get me some iced coffee. And this is their little sugar packet. It's just so cute. Their branding is so cute. One of these pages I put a little cologne sample because I keep smelling it. I don't know what page it was, but anyway, some more junk kind of Italian themed things. And then at that same cafe the next day, I drew myself my outfit just like kind of top of mind, and I never really do that. I usually use a reference photo of some sort, but I did this from my mind and I'm so proud of it. Like, it's very cartoonish, but it's me, and like that's kind of how I was sitting and looking at that cafe. And I'm really happy with how my hair color turned out, because this type of blondish brown is kind of hard to capture, and I feel like it's almost like a green hue sometimes. So I did that with marker. I've been learning a lot about mixing in my alcohol markers, so yeah, it was cool. And then drew my camera and added some stickers and stuff. And then we have another junk journal spread. I think I found the culprit of the cologne. I think it's this. Like, it smells so strong. It makes my whole journal smell really good. But yeah, we went to a perfumery in Italy. Yeah, just a bunch of scraps and stuff. Stickers. I love collecting trash, obviously, guys. Okay, we're nearing my favorite part of my travel journal, guys. So we went to this wine bar like 1,000 times last summer and became friends with the owners of the restaurant. It's called Cru Firenze, and Gabriele and Talita took us out to dinner this year, and they are the ones that actually have my pasta painting hanging up in the restaurant in Florence. Like, oh my god, it's the coolest thing, and I'm just so grateful that they hung it up in the restaurant. Like, that is insane. But yeah, they took us out to a restaurant this year and brought Gabriele's daughter, and she is 9. And she loves to draw kawaii anime kind of drawings, and she mentioned that in Italian. We were trying to converse, and I basically know Italian, so she was going to teach me a couple of things by drawing her kawaii little drawings and teaching me the names of all the fruits. So we sat down and I gave her all my art supplies and was like, you draw whatever you want. And she taught me how to say all the different fruits in Italian. And I'm gonna treasure these drawings forever. Art by Elena, I wrote at the bottom, because that's just so cute, is it not? Like, oh my god. And then this is their restaurant logo, and then just some other scraps from that. And then the next page is another Elena teaching me Italian. It's just so precious. And like, we had the most fun with them at this like outdoor barbecue type restaurant, and just drawing and talking and me trying to keep up with Italian. It was a highlight of the trip for sure. And then I have kind of like an orange themed junk spread. And then we have more Italian lessons over here. Seriously, like, I'm gonna treasure this journal forever, because like, this precious child drew these drawings in here for me. Like, it was, yeah, I don't even know, it makes me emotional. And then this is a sketch of the dinner that they took us to, the barbecue. It was like an outdoor barbecue type place, but they had 3 courses still, and like, we had pasta. It was like ideal barbecue. Like, I wish we did it like that here. And then I have this little photo of me at that cafe I was talking about earlier. And then this is us going to that same cafe again. And I'm writing about it in the little spaces and drawing the cups. We ordered like literally 3 different shots of espresso, I think, that morning, and have this little made in Italy thing. It's just like, Florence is one of my favorite places on earth, guys. I feel so lucky that I've gotten to return 3 times. And then speaking of favorite places in Florence, there is a art supply store called Zecchi Toscana, and they make handmade watercolors. And last year I got a palette, William bought it for me for my birthday, and I used a ton of them, like all the way up. So I had to go back and get some refills, and I wanted to get some new colors, and boy did I. All of these are their labels. So that means I bought all of these new colors. I had to buy a new palette, and I already have 3. So anyway, I bought all these colors and didn't really know how they were gonna look, so I had to swatch them. And once I swatched them, I decided which ones I want in my main palette. So I consolidated my favorite ones from my old palettes and then the new ones, and now I have like the ultimate palette. Yeah, if you're ever in Florence and you're an artsy person, you have got to go to this store. It's an art supply paradise. I think I was there for 45 minutes trying to decide. And then I painted what my palette looks like now, so I have it as reference, because I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed by how much art supplies I accumulate, and living on the road and not having a place where all my stuff exists, it gets very confusing. I'm like, where did I put that? Where is it in one of my suitcases? Yeah, so it's really nice to have this as a reference. And then I also painted my wardrobe of clothes I brought to Italy. The reason I did this is because I'm super proud of how I packed this around. I'm a really notoriously bad packer. I always underpack, and I'm missing stuff, and like my clothes get like all used and dirty before the trip is over. That is like very common for me, but this time I feel like I packed just right, and nothing I wore was uncomfortable or like too hot. And sometimes I'll pack in a way that's like fashionable but not breathable for like the humid, hot Italian summer. And so yeah, I wanted to document the things I brought because it was really good. I did a good job, and I felt like super cute the whole time and not like frumpy and ugly. Sometimes I feel like that when I pack wrong, which I often do. And also I've been messing with this kind of spiral font, and it's just like my current phase right now is like the spirally whimsical text. It just makes it so fun, like I'm a fairy drawing in my journal. We have some more junk and some brain dumping. And then the hotel we stayed at in Florence had this gorgeous outdoor seating area, and like they even had a free happy hour of snacks. Light fell through the trees in the most beautiful way. And I think like the leaves and plants in Florence, they do it different. Like I think plants love to be in Florence, and they love to grow there because it is seriously like heaven. I see why so much historical art comes from there, because it is seriously a magical place. And like you can see like the flowers just love to be there. Anyway, there's a word in Japanese for the light falling through the tree. I'm gonna write it. I wanted to achieve that effect here in this painting, and I painted this from life, which I'm super proud of. I did so much painting from life this time. And usually I talk myself out of it because I don't want the hassle or to be like being extra, but I'm really glad I did, because these are really like slices of time in this journal now. I got kind of creative with this spread, and I'm not super happy with how it turned out. The glue is like not great, but I hid some things under this little thing I collected from Nice, and I thought that could be a little cool peekaboo thing. And then this, the watercolor wrapper around the palette, and I threw some photos in there as a little pop-up as well. And I just think their packaging for the watercolors are so beautiful. I had to keep it in here, and then I also hid some more things behind that, so it's like kind of giving me more space in this very small journal. This is a lemon themed page. I love doing colored themed pages, like I've told you, and I also love doing fruit themed pages. So this is a lemon page, and it's all yellow and lemon citron things, okay? And then I have a booth photo of me and William. It's very cutesy, and yeah, just some French and Italian scraps. we have this little watercolor sketch of an affogato, some pasta I had in Chiavari, a sculpture I saw at a museum, and those little iconic umbrellas that you see everywhere on the beach. And I just combined all those interesting things and added a background, and now it's a beautiful painting. I probably should stop filming these outside. And then we have that Abbey Sanford Toso I was telling you about. I love this place. It's just like heaven and amazing. And then we have a little mermaid moment after some brain dumping I did. Another Sanford Toso sketch that I covered in stickers because it did not turn out well. And this is the final spread. We have a little label I had to recreate. I have been really into tomatoes, obviously, and worked with some of those new watercolors I bought. And then my friend Amber, she thrifted these postcards in Fresno, and this one just reminded me so much of France. Like, it was given French, and like the details on it are so gorgeous. So I decided to put that at the end and write arrivederci because I had to say goodbye to my beautiful Italy. But you know what? I'll be back. I have every intention of coming back every year I can. Fingers crossed. But anyway, that is the summer travel journal. It only lasted me till mid-June. I'm gonna have to start a new one for my next trip to Maine and then to New York City for a month, guys. So excited. I'm gonna be journaling all of that, and I'll keep you along for that ride as well. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my travel journal tour, and I'll see you next time. Bye.